All right, guys. Yesterday I had the opportunity to listen to the interview that Elon did with presidential candidate Donald Trump on the X platform. And I thought I'd provide some of my thoughts on that, as the issues that are what I think are relevant to me and perhaps people that think like I do. Now, first of all, it is interesting that the EU basically was threatening Elon Musk for doing the interview, which seems quite weird because political candidates are interviewed all the time on all kinds of networks, and this is the first time I've ever seen sort of something like that. Kind of people wonder if that would be considered, election interference by a foreign entity. I don't know. It's also interesting that, as that interview was set to take place, there was I guess some sort of hacking that occurred that sort of flooded the system so it couldn't run. Who initiated that? Who knows? Some hacker, maybe the EU itself, or it's hard to say. But beyond that, so once you started listening to it, I'm not going to say who I support for president or tell you who to support or anything like that. But there's a couple issues that are interesting to me. One, of course, is access and consumption of meat. And it seems as though both Elon Musk and Donald Trump were very much in favor of not going after farmers, not shutting down, reducing red meat consumption, which to me is...
Donald Trump has ironically actually reduced people's access to red meat. He went after pig farmers, mandating that they have larger cages to the safari. Yeah, so Trump has actually mandated animal welfare laws. Farmers fucking hated him for it because it reduced their profits, made it harder for them to, produce as much meat. I'm going to leave a comment.
Is a positive. Now, one of the negatives, which I thought was out there, was Donald Trump's desire to get drugs out there even faster to the FDA, which I think is a problem, quite honestly. So I don't agree with that particular issue there. Now, I guess, and I'm not sure if it's true.
There actually is a huge problem with drug requirements. There are a lot of things that actually hamstring drug development, one of them being animal testing. Animal testing is absolutely 100% useless. You don't learn anything from animal testing. And when you're testing drugs for safety and efficacy, it does nothing. It's literally a coin flip as to whether or not the drug will be safe or efficacious for human use. So that's one roadblock to getting drugs approved that should be gotten rid of. And I think they actually just recently got rid of the animal testing mandate, because what'll happen is perfectly good drugs or treatments will be developed. They'll go into animal testing. The animal trials will fail, but the drug is actually good for human use. But they won't approve it for human use because it failed the animal tests. It's fucking retarded. So there definitely should be some changes to getting drugs approved to make it make the research just more streamlined and the approval process, again, more streamlined and sensible. Actually, I think Tylenol or acetaminophen, some anti-inflammatory medication, it was actually initially banned for human use when it was being developed because it failed animal testing. They were testing it in chimpanzees, and it was killing chimpanzees. But it's obviously a safe, useful drug for humans. So they ended up actually getting approval to test it in humans and then came to market. But that's a good example of how the fucking laws with drug approvals, they're just stupid.
Elon Musk might have invited Kamala Harris to do an interview somewhere. She, I think, turned it down. That may be real, I don't know for sure. But the other major candidate out there is obviously Robert Kennedy Jr., and he has espoused kind of similar views, at least around, cows aren't destroying the planet. Now, they maybe have more of a regenerative bent in that view, but
cows do not have any regenerative effects on the climate.
I mean, the reality is we have not had an independent presidential candidate win election literally since George Washington. Every other candidates ever won has been attached to some sort of party, be it Republican, Democrat, Whig Party, Bull Moose Party. I mean, it goes back and read the history of this. The closest ever, I think, was Ross Perot, who got, some percentage of the vote back in, I think, the 80s. I don't remember exactly what year he ran. But, and they've also taken Kennedy off the ballot in New York, which again, it seems very odd why we have this sort of situation where you have candidates that clearly have some level of interest being excluded from ballots. I don't understand our system. I don't have a lot of faith in our system in many regards. I think most politicians, when they get in office, do the bidding of their corporate overlords anyway. But anyway, it's interesting to see some perspective on that. I hope we continue to have more and more people speak.
Sean Baker's just a fucktard.